So I attended Keppel DC REIT annual general meeting, and here was 5 things I learned from the AGM. Let's go. Number 1. Potential tenancy issues. During the AGM, there were concerns about Sisteria, who was one of Keppel DC REIT tenant at its London data center. If you're not aware, Sisteria is a company that deals with co-location and interconnectivity services. Currently, there's a few concerns about its long-term financial health. However, management informed they're not very worried, as Sisteria only constitutes 2% of Keppel DC REIT's entire assets under management. In the worst case scenario, management is also confident of bringing in a new tenant should Sisteria goes into financial liquidation, as demand for London data centers market remains strong. Regarding an ongoing litigation claim of 14.8 million from DXC, management informed they cannot comment much as the ongoing case. However, they've already made provisions for this amount, and should the claim be successful, there could be a potential upside in future distributions. Moving on to point number 2, increased expenses and costs. Unsurprisingly, the debt cost was a cause of concern for a lot of unit holders during the AGM. However, management informed that they do not foresee a huge increase in the average debt cost, as only a small portion of loan is due for refinancing in 2023. If you look at Keppel DC REIT Q1 FY 2023 debt profile, you can see that only 4.9% of loans are due for refinancing in 2023. Additionally, 4% and 6.9% of loans are due for refinancing in 2024 and 2025. As such, I also agree with management that there will not be a huge increase in the debt cost in the near future. Moving on to increased operating costs, management team informed that this is mostly down to electricity costs. However, they added that close to 90% of electricity costs are already passed on to tenants in their current lease agreements and also during their lease renewals. Moving on to point number 3, demand of data centers. Management informed that demand remains strong for both co-location data centers and also from hyperscalers. On the topic of hyperscalers, management informed that they are not downsizing their needs, but are instead looking at more data centers. There is also not much threat of hyperscalers breaking off and operating their own data centers due to cost issues, logistical pains in moving out of current data infrastructures, and regulatory challenges in securing new data center spaces across the world. With regards to the recent lifting of moratorium of data centers in Singapore, management informed that they work together with their sponsor and Keppel Group to see how best to introduce new data centers into the market. With a stricter PUE requirement of 1.3 or less for new data centers in Singapore, management feels it will also benefit Keppel DC REIT in the long run due to its co-location data centers and Keppel Group's expertise in renewable energy and data center industry. On the recent tech firms layoffs, management informed they are keeping a close eye on it. For now, they do not foresee a threat on Keppel DC REIT's performance in the near term. This is due to many tech firms still pushing for cloud enterprise solutions for themselves and their clients. A unit holder also asked about the poor performance of Basis Bay data center in Malaysia. Management informed that the lackluster performance was due to current tenant downsizing and Malaysia's own MCO, which affected listing demand in the past few years. Nevertheless, management highlighted that Basis Bay Data Center remains but a small part of Keppel DC's entire portfolio, and they also continue to look for tenants or divest the property accordingly in the future. Now to point 4, growth plans. Management informed that they will continue to source for potential opportunities in the overseas market. It will also tap on its sponsors' private equity data center funds for future acquisitions. Any potential acquisition for this year will likely be funded via equity fundraising, as the last payments for the Guangdong data center will only be fully fulfilled in Q3 2023, which means stand by your cash, as management never say whether it's a private equity fundraising or a public equity fundraising, so just stand by in case. On the building of new data centers, management informed that it's not straightforward or easy due to community resistance and government regulations. So if you're not sure what community resistance is, it's basically referring to a group of people who oppose the construction of new data centers in their cities or towns. However, typically management informed that this is not a very big issue, as the government or the regulatory body of that particular city or town will resolve it sooner or later. It's just a matter of time. With regards to the US market, management informed that they've been looking at it for the past few years, but have yet to find any suitable acquisitions. Lastly, on the potential data concerns and the ongoing rivalry between the US and China, management informed that they do not foresee a huge impact on Keppel DC REIT, as data centers typically store data which are specific to their geographical locations. So for example, a data center in China will store data that is from China, while a data center in Australia will store data that is from Australia. So this is the same for both hyperscalers and co-location data center assets. Now on to the last and final point, ESG. The management informed that they plan to have all co-location data centers to be green certified as per industry standards and certifications by 2030. For fully fitted and shell and core data centers, management team informed that they do not have much control over ESG standards, as that is mainly down to the tenants themselves. In addition, management added that it's hard to make wholesale changes to cooling systems of current data centers, as they're operational 24/7, 365 days a year, and are often mission critical to tenants. Thus, it is hard to afford any downtime for significant overhauls. Also, as per industry practices, Keppel DC REIT does not review its PUE for its data center assets. Last but not least, management also informed that there is a need to balance ESG targets and commercial needs, aka returns to shareholders. But nevertheless, management will still work together with sponsor and Keppel Group to make its assets greener and more efficient over the long run. He also highlighted how Keppel Group is currently sourcing for renewable energy from Laos and Cambodia, which Keppel DC REIT can potentially tap on in the future. So yup, that's it. That was the 5 topics that were covered during the AGM. What do you think about it? Let me know in the comments below. If you want to see more of such videos, subscribe to the channel. Till the next video, goodbye.